Have you ever thought that the most powerful kings, emperors, and great men in history were destroyed not by a sword or a war, but by drowning in the depths of a woman's eyes? A woman who herself seems like a dream, but awakens the deepest dreams of every man. She is called the Siren. This is a power that can intoxicate any man, a charmer who doesn't even let her victim realize that he has been trapped. In this video, we will learn how one woman destroyed great kings and their empires. Today we will explore this very aspect of seduction. Welcome everyone to the world of Lucifer. In the year 48 BC, the ruler of Egypt, Ptolemy XIV, removed his sister and wife, Cleopatra, from power and exiled her from the country. He sealed Egypt's borders so that Cleopatra could not return. That same year, Julius Caesar came to Alexandria to ensure that Egypt remained loyal to Rome, despite the local power struggles. One night, as Caesar was in his palace, a merchant arrived with a message that he had brought a precious gift for him. In the mood for entertainment, Caesar allowed him to enter. The merchant came in carrying a large rolled-up carpet on his shoulders. As soon as he untied the rope and unrolled the carpet with a flick of his hands, Cleopatra emerged from within. She came out half-naked, like a nymph. Everyone was mesmerized. The appearance of the young queen, only 21 years old, in such a manner seemed like a dream. Her courage and theatricality shocked everyone. To enter the port of Egypt in the dead of night with only one man, putting everything at stake. But the most impressed of all was Julius Caesar. Cleopatra was no ordinary woman. She was at the peak of her youth. Her voice was so sweet that whoever heard it would be bound by her magic. Her personality and conversation were so impressive that she could trap any man in her web. That very night, Cleopatra became Caesar's lover. Caesar had many lovers in his life before, but he always gave more importance to politics and war. However, Cleopatra offered him a charm he was not accustomed to. Sometimes Cleopatra would talk to Caesar about reviving the legacy of Alexander the Great and ruling the world, and at other times, she would appear before him dressed as the goddess Isis. It began to feel like a game to Caesar. Every time he thought he had won Cleopatra over, she would suddenly respond with anger, forcing him to pursue her all over again. And this became a struggle for Caesar, that he now had to win Cleopatra at any cost. Weeks passed, and Caesar eliminated all of Cleopatra's enemies. When he planned to leave Egypt, Cleopatra suggested taking him on a grand expedition on the Nile River. They sailed on a magnificent barge, 54 feet high, with palaces built on several decks, and saw the god Dionysus. But when Caesar had left, unrest spread in Rome, and he was eventually assassinated in 44 BC. After Caesar's death, a valiant soldier named Mark Antony came to power. He enjoyed a life of luxury and excitement and considered himself the Roman Dionysus. Cleopatra invited him to the city of Tarsus in Egypt. She was about to create the same atmosphere once again. Cleopatra arrived on a golden barge with purple sails billowing, surrounded by dancing nymphs, sweet music, and herself dressed as the goddess Aphrodite. The crowd began to chant her name. Mark Antony could not escape Cleopatra's beauty. He knew he had to conquer this woman, but every time, Cleopatra would ensnare him. This time, he became a complete slave to Cleopatra. He adopted Egyptian customs and attire and distanced himself from his Roman heritage. In this way, one woman brought two great kings under her control. There were never any actual portraits of Cleopatra in history. Cleopatra was not exceptionally beautiful. Her face was long and thin with a slightly pointed nose. But her greatest strength was her large, magical eyes. With just her words and her eyes, she brought two great kings to ruin. Truly, Cleopatra was an extraordinary siren, a woman who was an expert at captivating men through her personality, art, and drama. Norma Jean Mortensen, whom the world would later come to know as Marilyn Monroe, grew up in an orphanage during her childhood. She lived alone, rarely smiled, and was always lost in dreams. But at the age of 13, when she wore a small sweater, something strange happened. Boys started staring at her as if she were a gold mine. It was a small but shocking power, the power to attract attention. And Marilyn was ambitious. She started wearing makeup, dressing in a different style, and smiling more. Over time, she noticed another strange thing. Men would fall in love with her without even knowing her. Whatever she said, she could charm them, making them blame themselves. Some saw lust in her eyes. Others saw magic in her voice. Gradually, Marilyn understood that her power was not in her looks, but in her presence. Now the question arises, how was the magic of Marilyn Monroe created? Her start in the film industry was not easy. Producers would say, "You are attractive, but you don't look like a star on camera." But when she appeared on screen, men went wild. Theaters would stir in their seats. Then one day, at the age of 23, she got a second chance. A small but memorable role in a Groucho Marx film. The producers wanted an entrance that would shake any man to his soul. Marilyn created a new way of walking. Whenever she walked, she controlled her body in a unique way to attract everyone's attention. And from that day on, everyone started calling Marilyn a sex siren. Marilyn's voice was as enchanting as a little girl's. She then molded it into a seductive, breathy tone. Her face was filled with glamour and innocence. Her walk was unique. Seeing her, men would be filled with lust and get lost in a dream. Marilyn didn't just want to be a blonde bombshell, but even when she was acting, people felt something else. Marilyn, whether you think it or not, your body exudes sex. Marilyn molded herself into the image of a sex siren, filled with innocence and arousal. And that was the reason she became immortal not only on screen, but also in history as a siren. A siren is a character who compels the suppressed emotions inside men to come out. A siren is no ordinary woman. They know how to control other people with their beauty. Whenever a man sees a siren, he gets trapped in the depths of lust. She awakens men's deepest, suppressed desires. She forces them to lose control. She is not just beautiful, she is a fantasy. Just as Mark Antony was captivated by Cleopatra, both Joe DiMaggio and Arthur Miller were defeated by Marilyn Monroe. Even warriors and writers like Julius Caesar bowed before a siren. The siren's magic works not just on one man, but on every single man. To become a siren, you can focus on 3 points. First, be different from everyone else. A siren is always different from ordinary women. She is not part of the crowd, just as Cleopatra set herself apart with drama and grandeur. Second, make a man long for you so much that he loses himself. The desire to possess a siren is what draws a man to her. She doesn't chase men herself, but forces them to run after her. Third, a little danger, which makes her even more alluring. A siren is not just a sweet woman. She also has a dangerous attraction. This risk excites a man even more. You can spot such people from a distance. An influencer siren who excites your lust by showing her beauty. A siren's weakness is that they often lack confidence. A man can also be a siren. For example, you can take the actor Dharmendra. These were the first of the 9 seducers, the siren. A siren can attract any man towards her with her beauty and can control them. Let me know in the comments some examples of sirens.